My name is Sunshine Muerte, and I'm originally from Boyle Heights, East LA, and I moved to Las Vegas. And this is my story.
Throughout the hard times, we're still making changes. Find the ways to help each other, many similar faces. There's a way, meditation and pray. God could pave the way, many better days in a peaceful place where we lay.
Growing up in East LA, Boyle Heights, you are exposed to a lot of toxicity as far as gangs go, as far as life goes, and as far as the streets go. I grew up in a very broken home. My mother was a prostitute and an alcoholic, and my dad was a drug dealer that just tried to make it. He was also an alcoholic. Growing up wasn't so easy for me. I was molested by 8 people in my family, so my brain was already messed up as a little girl. I started drinking by the time I was 8 years old, and I started using meth by the time I was 11. I started drinking because, 1, it was fun, and 2, it blocked out a lot of memories for me. When I started using meth, I started drinking more because I needed to balance myself out. But as I started balancing myself out, I started finding a crowd that was doing the same thing I was, and I started losing myself. When you lose yourself that fast, you don't pay attention in class, you don't pay attention in school, and you pay attention to things that you're used to. And being exposed to that kind of environment, I started getting into boys at a young age. I can't say I lost my virginity because it was taken from me, but I started messing around with boys, and getting drunk was an easy way to talk to them, and I ended up getting raped over and over and over again. And those memories for me just made me drink more and more and more and start using more and more and more. By the time I hit 18, I was already raped about 25 times. I didn't really want to think about anything anymore, and I focused more on the streets and hanging around people that were damaged just like myself. My mom was more of a friend than my mom. So I used to get high with my mom. For my 16th birthday, she gave me a bottle of Jack and a sack of speed. And I thought that was cool at the time. Then over time, I noticed regular families, normal families, and I wanted that. So I would always ask her, can you hug me? Can you love me? And she goes, that's weird. No. And the rest of my family was the same way. They never really showed love or affection. My dad did, but at that point, I didn't trust men. So I couldn't really hug my dad or show him affection or even sit on his lap because I felt like I was going to be touched. Not that my dad would or even showed that side, but I just felt like I can never love anybody for that reason. So I had my guard up the whole time. And over time, love didn't exist to me. It was just drugs, sex, and fun. I got lost so much that I I just didn't care about life anymore, and I tried taking my life because I felt like I wasn't worthy of even being here because I was just like, fuck it, I'm a fuck up. And so I tried to jump off a bridge in East LA, actually Lincoln Heights, and my friend stopped me and she asked why. And I said, I've been living a lie, and I smile so you wouldn't see the pain. And she was wondering, like, you're confusing me. why, what's going on? And I said, I've been living a lie, and I've I've been raped so many times that I just don't want to be here anymore. So I think that this is the best way to go. And she said, did you ever tell anybody about it? I said, no. And she goes, well, can you? Can you talk to like anybody? Is anybody in your family would help you? And I did have my Aunt Corrine, who I now call my mom. She was the proper person to teach me things about being a woman, about being feminine, about things like that. So I called her and I asked her, can you help me? And she asked, what's going on? And I said, I need help with life. And she said, what do you mean? Can you elaborate on that? I said, I've been molested by everybody you know in our family. And she was like, what? Excuse me? What do you mean? So I told her I was molested by her brothers, my uncles, my aunt, and my cousins. And sorry, I'm going all over, but my grandma was taking care of me, and she knew what was happening. She knew that my cousins were doing it to me, and she would beat the crap out of me if I would say anything. So I kept it to myself, and so over the years I just shut it up with alcohol and drugs. And so I finally told her, hey, this is what I need help from. So she called the cops, and she said, even though it's too late that this stuff happened, you need to let them know. You need to tell them what happened to you. And I said, no, I'm scared. I'm scared they're going to beat me. She said, they can't hurt you no more. We need to get you help. So I went to the cops, and I told them what happened. And it kind of sucks the way they treat you. They treat you like you're lying. So I didn't even want to continue, but they make you talk about what happened and everything. And so at that point, my whole world changed. My whole childhood was brought back up, and I felt like I wanted to kill myself again because it was just over and over, and I felt like I wasn't going to get saved. But this time, she said, this time's different. You're going to be saved. You're going to know what it is to be a person and love. And at that point, I stopped alcohol. I got into a couple of rehabs, and I tried to go back to school. But I was so lost that I was 18, 19 and really didn't have not much of knowledge as like reading or writing or anything like that. So I had to train myself to go back and educate myself. After maybe once I hit 21, I had already done it the most, but I still was doing it. But I was a little bit more adamant on telling myself, you don't need to do that. You need to chill. So most of my friends I stopped hanging out with, and started hanging out with more appropriate people, I guess, more like I was challenging myself, and I got to meet a lot of really cool models, and they would tell me, you're really, really pretty. You need to really focus on yourself. And so I started modeling, and I started going to photo shoots, but I was so nervous around other people that I started to use again. And one of my photographers knew that I was on it, and he saw it on the camera, and he was like, I can't have you shoot if you're going to be doing this. So I said, I need help. I can't stop this. And if you guys want me to model, I'm most likely going to do this before the shoot anyways. So he goes, I want you to get clean. So they put me in another rehab. After I got out of rehab, I wanted to go back to school. So I went to a Job Corps program. At that time, I was already 23, 24. And I decided to just stop. I couldn't get high anymore anyways. So for 3 years, I was actually sober 100%. I ended up getting a AA in business and finance, getting my high school diploma, and learning how to be a functioning adult. After I got out of that, I I reconnected with my dad and I told him what was going on. And at that time, he was opening up a restaurant in downtown LA. And he said, "I'm really proud of you, but I need your help now. Now that you're finally coherent in life." So I said, "What do I do?" He goes, "I need you to be a boss." I said, "I could do that." So I ended up running a restaurant with my dad. And over time, alcohol was around again. So I started using again. But I kept telling myself, it's okay. It's okay. This time it's different. I'm not drowning in myself for pain. I'm doing it for fun. But sometimes I think that doing it for fun leads to abusing it and not knowing where you're at. And I think that even still to this day, I'm like that. I can't function properly if I'm not drinking or not using certain drugs or whatever. But I always get myself back on track. And I love the fact that now I know myself enough to get myself back on track. Because I got to open up to my dad and him understand my situation and why I chose to abuse, he decided to go to therapy to help himself understand me more and understand himself and why he didn't see signs. So I think we connected a lot more on that level of thank you, Dad. I love you, Dad. Hugging more, talking more, spending more time together. My mom, I had so much resentment towards her because she was the one that got me into drugs and alcohol. So I pushed her aside so much that she started to just understand to stay away. And I would constantly talk trash to her and tell her she was a bad mom, to just leave me alone, that my dad was my mom and my dad. So she started to use more. And I talked so much trash to her that I told her, "Why don't you just kill yourself?" And she said, "Maybe I will." And I just told her, like, you just don't deserve to be here. You raised kids and you didn't even raise them. You just had them and left. And you damaged me so much that you should just leave. So she left and I didn't see her for years. And when I finally did, she got cancer. And at this point, I was 27, and they told her if she drank another thing of alcohol that she would die. So she quit. And both my brothers had a relationship with her more than I did because I hated her and resented her. And she asked them if I would talk to her again and just be there for her because she had cancer and she knew she was dying. And I'm trying to be a better person. And so I said, okay, I'll be there for you, but I need a therapy session with you. I need to know why you did this to me. I need to know why you left me. And she said she wasn't ready for it. I said, nobody's ready for it. Nobody's even ready to be a mom or a dad. So if you're not ready to do this, I'm not ready to be here for you. And my dad was very proud of me for even stating that. So I wrote a message, like I wrote out what I needed to tell her because I was so nervous. And I ended up throwing the letter away and just asking her, why did you do it? And she said it was because she was addicted and things happened to her. And she just chose to pass it on. And she didn't understand what it was to have kids and that she was sorry. At that point, I felt like I was closer to my parents than I ever was. And I helped her get through her pain. But at the end of the day, she ended up passing. And then I loved her. So it was a lot harder to deal with getting my mom back and then just her dying. So my dad said, you got your closure, you got what you needed, and she loves you more than ever, but it's time for you to actually learn to grow up and be your own parent, be your own you, not your parent, but just be you. And I think now I have more love for myself, I've educated myself enough to know I don't need more closure. I feel like I need to now know more about myself, but I'm getting there. Sorry. So, growing up in East LA, Boyle Heights is a very Chicano known neighborhood. But my grandfather was always very like, yeah, I'm Chicano, but also he was very prideful in letting us know that we were indigenous. And I grew up more native than anything. Anytime I went to school, people would ask me why I had extremely long hair or why I dressed the way I did. But it was because my grandfather wanted to let people know that we were indigenous. So I would wear moccasins to school and I would wear traditional wear. And people would laugh at me or people would tell me, like, why are you different? And I said, because I'm proud of being Native American and not Mexican. And so they were like, but you are. And I said, yeah, but I'm more proud of being indigenous because there's not many people out there that are indigenous. So growing up, I would always tell my friends, like, oh, my family's a little different because we go to powwows or we eat this kind of food or we do these kind of things. And they were very, like, interested in my culture. So they would always want to go to my house. But I lived in a very, like, old school traditional home where your friends had to wait outside. They couldn't go in the house. And it was because my grandpa said, I guess because we lived in the hood, like, they're going to look at everything in your house and they'll want to steal it. So I would only trust, like, a couple of friends. And I remember a couple of my friends went into my house and they noticed all the, like, indigenous, like, feathers and the hawk feathers and the rabbits and the rabbit furs. And they're like, oh, you really are indigenous? And I was like, do you guys think I was lying? And they're like, to be honest, yeah, I just thought that you were, like, making this whole story up. And I told them I used to dance in powwows. And they were like, well, what's that like? So I would always put on my native drums, and they liked it, but they were just like, that's a little much for me. And they were like, don't you want to just be normal? And I think that in the beginning, I wanted to be normal. But at the end of the day, my dad always said, why do you want to be normal? It's cool to be someone different. So I started letting my hair grow. I started wearing more feathers in my hair. I started doing more indigenous practices. And once I started getting tattooed, I started getting more indigenous tattoos. And I recently got my chin tattooed. And that's what I'm most proud of because I'm now educated on what it is and I'm proud to wear it. I'm also proud to teach other people that there's more indigenous people than they think out there, and you're not just from one thing. And even in Mexico, there's more indigenous tribes and more things out there that, like, I'm not just the only one. There's just so many different tribes, and that they need to understand their culture. And if they want to embrace mine, it's even better. You deserve it. Okay, so modeling, I started when I was 16. And how I got into modeling was a good friend of mine, which I lost recently, is Masumi Max. I seen her on a cover of a fetish magazine, and I thought that she was just the most beautiful woman in the world. And she had a very unique look as far as her eyes and her face and the way she posed and things like that. And I said, I want to be someone like that. So I started going to photo shoots and started modeling and doing a lot of shoots. And over the years, I was personally known for my crazy creative side of creating these looks and characters. I like to do a lot of like vampires, or my alter ego is Sunny the Clown. So I like to dress as a killer clown. I ended up getting so caught up with these little monsters that I got to meet Masumi because she was very interested in my creative mind. And it was just over time, she was like, I am a big fan. And I'm like, I'm a big fan of you. So she asked me to model her makeup line. And she introduced me to a lot of other photographers and models. And so I got to actually model with her and perform with her. And I got to work with a lot of amazing people due to her. And I'm really proud of myself for that, because I think out of everything that I did, I pushed myself to become a model. And that was something that was really hard for me to do, since I was always, I'm not worth this, I'm not worth that. So becoming a model made me prideful and made me feel like I was successful. And I just want every like girl to know, when they see girls like me or Masumi or beautiful models, that they could do it too. Every woman is beautiful, and I think that they need to look from the inside out, because all those little things on the inside show that they're beautiful, and they'll know like, I can do this, I can do modeling. And it's, every model deserves their photo taken. I think that like it shows a lot. And I've progressed over the years seeing my work, and as I got older, I'm pretty happy with that. Meeting Masumi, she became my best friend, and she showed me a lot. She was very, very positive light, and sadly she passed. And when she passed, I felt like my childhood idol, my hero, and my best friend all in one just left. And I got so lost that I kept thinking it was just a week. It was just a week. And I kept saying, it's okay, you'll get over it. It's okay. But as the week went by, as 2 weeks went by, as 3 weeks went by, it was harder and harder and harder to know that she wasn't going to call me anymore, that she wasn't going to be there for me anymore, that she wasn't going to ask me to perform with her anymore. And I kind of just gave up. But I'm studying to be a podiatrist, and I do nails, and I know that she would want me to pursue that and continue to pursue it. And I was her nail tech, so she would be really pissed off if she found out that I wanted to give up my career and everything just to mourn over her. So I understand that when someone loses someone, it's very, very hard, and I'm still going through the pain, especially since she just passed. but I think that it's also a strengthening tool for myself to get through it. And she helped me get through a lot of things. And she was my strength. She was someone that was like, oh, Cindy, you got this. You're so strong. And she would call me tiny but mighty. And being lost in all of it, in reality, she wanted me to just succeed. So now I think I need to carry on her legacy and model more than ever and push myself to do more nails and more things that she would be proud of, so I can keep her in my heart. If you'd like to work with me, see my nails, see my crazy side of Sunny, you can follow me at sadgirlsunny323, and you could follow my nail page at Cursed Claws. Thank you guys for listening to my story, and this is Making Changes.